Greetings and welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I'm going to be showing you my firestaff and blunderbuss build that I've been playing for the last couple of days, and I really like this build. I used to play firestaff blunderbuss when blunderbuss came out. I was really enjoying that, and I just hadn't played it in a while, so I just wanted to go back to it, and I'll show you what we're doing here. So let's look at the stats real quick. So let me eat my food so you guys can see that. So we're going 200 Constitution, 300 Intelligence. If you feel comfortable with 150 Constitution, you could of course do that and then put more points into Intelligence. It's not going to increase your damage too much, so I wouldn't really do that. This is after the patch. I'm recording this after the patch where we got the little buff to health. So lower Constitution values are going to give you more health now. So that's why we're actually sitting at 14k now on 200 Constitution, which normally would be around 13k. So, you know, you could technically get away with a little less Constitution if you want to. But I think this is an easy spread. 200, 300 serves you well. Looking at the weapon mastery right now. So on the firestaff, we're going Pillar of Fire all the way down. Fireball all the way down, Burnout all the way down, and then we're taking Clear Mind, Singe, Spellslinger, Flare, and Prophet of a Fire God. We're not taking any of the ultimate passives here because honestly, I don't think they're super important to have. If you want one, you got to build for it, but I honestly don't really care about them, so we're not doing that. And then over here, of course, we're going Pyromania, Heat Up, Let It Burn, Watch It Burn. Let it burn or watch it burn. Well, I mean, you know, if you let it burn, you get to watch it burn. Makes sense. And then, of course, we're taking the combat speed too, because a little extra speed goes a long way. That's the firestaff. And then on the blunderbuss, basically full containment tree. Nothing over here in the chaos tree. I know people love their splitting grenade. And if you really want to play it, you can do that. You just spec into the splitting grenade here. That would then replace the claw shot. I personally, I do like the old school way of playing the blunderbuss. This is how I played blunderbuss back in the day when it came out on the PTS. I was one of the first guys that was running around figuring out combos and figuring out how to play it. And I do like the claw shot a lot. It is a little hard to land, of course. Takes some practice, but honestly, I really love being able to just pull myself over to someone and then blast them in the face. It's good fun. So yeah, if you don't want to use claw shot or you feel like you can't land it too well, feel free to go for the splitting grenade. But I like the old school. So we're taking the net shot, we're taking the claw shot, and the Azov shrapnel blast all the way down, and then we're taking all the passives here: run and gun, we're taking deep load, we're taking future endeavors, ramp, and fortifying aggression, and we're taking unload, the ultimate passive here, just for some extra pellets. Really nice and easy thing to do. You don't have to memorize anything. Full containment, that's all you need to know. All right, let's look at the stats that I have here, the sets that I'm running. So we're running the Wildfire Torch, which is one of the most popular fire staffs in the game. Empowering Fireball, Enchanted, Keenly Empowered. I got an Arboreal Gambit gem on. The reason for that is, first of all, you know, like we get the 8% nature damage per second for 2 seconds, which is nice, a little extra damage. And damage over time in general is pretty nice because it fills up your hard rune, and you get to use your hard rune a lot more. So that's pretty cool. Fireball hitting pretty hard with this build, very nice. Light and heavy attacks hitting pretty hard with this build, also very nice. And then keenly empowered for more damage. So this all around is just a damage fire staff. It's probably one of the highest damage fire staffs that you can find. The gambit that we're using on this one, 12% extra damage while your stamina is not full. So we're running medium armor on this build. I did run it in light armor in the beginning, and I didn't like it too much. So I went medium armor, and I like that a lot more because it gives me more control. It makes me a little bit more tanky, but I have a cheaper dodge roll now that I can use to shoot and dodge and shoot and dodge and shoot and dodge. And that just works a lot better in my opinion. That's why the gambit is so nice, because I can just dodge and my stamina is not full anymore, and I shoot and get 12% extra damage. And that just stacks. You get 12% damage there, 15% damage from your keenly, another 10% damage from your enchanted. They throw the fireball for almost 60% extra damage. It's nice. Like, you're hitting hard on this build, and I really like that. On the blunderbuss, we're using Keen Vorpal and Enchanted. Basically, like, this is a really good blunderbuss if you can hit some headshots. If not, then the Vorpal is kind of wasted. So I wouldn't say Vorpal is really what you want to look for unless you're really good at landing those headshots. Then it's really good. But anything really that you like, you can put Azov Shrapnel Blast on, or any other weapon perk that you want. Or, whatever you like. Keen Vicious Enchanted would be nice too. I don't know if that actually works from the perk pools, but anything that buffs your damage would be nice. Also, like, I can see a thing like Keen Speed being really useful here, giving you that extra speed to kind of like chase people when they're trying to run away and shoot them in the back. I'll leave that up to you. I think building for a little bit of damage goes a long way, but you do whatever you want to do on this one. I got the Augmented Abyssal here. We're converting some of the damage to Void. No particular reason outside of, I'm there's two things that people build against, which is mainly fire and then thrust damage and slash damage. The firestaff, of course, fire damage. The blunderbuss doing mostly thrust damage right now, because we're not using splitting grenade or anything. So we're using two damage types that people kind of build against. So I thought swapping over to some void damage would actually help here a little bit, making the blunderbuss hit a little harder, because some people really build heavily into thrust damage reduction, because bows and muskets still kind of hurt even after the nerfs. They're pretty dangerous if you're not built to deal with it. So a lot of people have a lot of high resists for these kind of damage types. So converting a little bit of that over to a different damage type that people don't build against would definitely help you get some extra damage out of it. And then, of course, we get the 8% void damage per second for 2 seconds, which is pretty nice too. I'm using Stoneform on this one, but you use whatever you want. Like, there's like, you can make use of any hard rune really. So vines would be pretty decent when people jump at you, and you can just like vine them and then blast them with the blunderbuss. Cannonball, if you can land it, can be very stylish, like a heavy attack into a fireball into a cannon shot. That's tons of damage. Dark Ascent, pretty nice too, honestly. I've seen that. You get a good amount of healing, so when you're being jumped, just maybe throw a fireball in there, or maybe a pillar of fire or something, and then you fly up and you come down, you hit people for some damage, you knock them back, you heal back up. So I'll leave that up to you. Of course, classic detonation works really well too. You can do the little bomb combo with a burnout into a detonate. If you can time that right, that's a lot of extra damage. So yeah, use whatever hard rune you want. I'm going more for like a sturdy playstyle here, so I like the stone form a lot. The healing really helps, and not being interrupted for a couple seconds is actually quite nice. So on the body pieces here, we're running Constitution, Freedom, Physical Aversion, Resilient. This is a really nice piece, honestly. Resilient, you kind of want to have on all pieces. Physical Aversion and Elemental Aversion, if you can. Freedom is super nice to have for these long stun chains. It helps you get out of there and heal back up before they get to kill you. Then we're running resilient, refreshing, evasion, shirking, heals. This is kind of meh, you know, I didn't really have a piece that satisfied me here. But ultimately, resilient, physical, aversion, and freedom would be nice on this piece as well. This one's just a two-piece here, resilient and freedom. Pretty decent. You can get them pretty cheap actually. So if you don't need anything else, resilient freedom, it's a pretty nice piece. This one, resilient shirking energy. Shirking energy is quite important. Anything that kind of helps with your stamina sustain, because as I said, I turned this into a medium armor build because I do like the medium armor dodge roll, and it kind of works well. Sure, you lose out on some damage on a build like this, but I think the survivability and giving you more control over your stamina and your dodge rolls is quite nice. Being able to, like, when someone attacks you and you can just like shoot and then dodge when they attack and shoot and dodge. And if you get the timing right, if you get a feeling for it, you're gonna feel quite tanky, because it's not that you're like actually tanky, but you can trade with melee people if you can dodge well, if you know which attacks to dodge and which you don't have to dodge, and then you know you can maintain your stamina, you can avoid a lot of damage, and you can just actually trade with a melee guy without dying, which I really appreciate, because this was always a big concern of mine, not being able to go toe to toe with a melee guy, because you know, like I honestly I would just panic and then kind of roll when I don't need to, and then not have the stamina when I actually would need a dodge roll. So having that stamina sustain and that control over your stamina is really nice. So shirking energy, I think, is quite important. And then on this one, resilient freedom again, of course, constitution and intelligence, nothing else is needed. So any combination of these will do. On our jewelry, this is just the champion's amulet, stamina, recovery, health, shirking, and power. Pretty nice. You can go for something else if you like something else better, but I think the health is something you definitely want to have. Stamina recovery is super nice. 30-second cooldown. So in every fight you get into, you get to a point where you can utilize this basically when you drop below 50% health and you almost gain your entire stamina bar back. That is a huge help when you really need it. This comes in so clutch. And then shirking in power, after dodging an attack, you gain in power. As you can see, there's a lot of focus on the dodge with this build, so this definitely doesn't hurt, getting extra damage for, you know, the dodges that you do anyway. Then we are running the Champion's Ring, Invigorated Punishment. Not super important, it's on here. I'm not a big fan of it, but the Hardy and the Keen Awareness is quite nice, and I like that a lot. And then when it comes to the earring, I think really important, Healthy Toast, Duplicating Toast, and you kind of also want to go for the potion cooldown reduction, which I don't have on this one. I went for Nimble because more stamina regen. I'm not sure if Nimble is actually really doing that much, but I was just going all out on the stamina sustain on this build, so I kind of like that. And yeah, that's basically the gear that we're running. When it comes to the gem spreads, I'll leave that up to you. You know, I have a little bit more physical reduction than I have elemental on this. If you feel like you're running into, you know, like, let's say flamethrower guys a lot, and those are your biggest issue, then definitely focus more on the fire damage or more like the elemental damage. That would help. But I think for me, still, like, any physical damage is a problem. Anything that's range, I can kind of deal with it, but if someone jumps me and hits me with like a hard hitting melee build, I do enjoy having a little bit more damage resistance like that. So like a mix of Onyx and Opal is nice here, or you can really like specialize and, you know, like go for fire damage or slash damage or thrust damage, whatever you feel like is your biggest weakness on your build. And then, of course, when it comes to consumables, we're using the cheapest mana potions that you can find. the price for mana potions changes constantly. Sometimes the powerful ones are the cheapest, sometimes the strong ones are the cheapest. You just check the market, what the cheapest are, and then you buy those, or you make them yourself. If you're doing a lot of PvE, then you probably have like a ton of mana potions of different quality. The tier doesn't matter. With this Healthy Toast, any mana potion is going to give you the 9.4% of your max health back. So take the ones that are the cheapest, take the ones that you have the most off. It doesn't really matter. You don't need the potions for mana sustain, because realistically, since we have all the points, we also get this one here at 200, 10 mana after dodge, and as we're dodging a lot on this build, so your mana should never really be an issue. And yeah, so that shouldn't be an issue really, but you have these potions anyway, so they're going to fill up, so you're never going to run out of mana, really, like realistically. And I think even if you didn't have a Healthy Toast earring and you wouldn't use these, I think you're still fine on the sustain. So yeah, but we're definitely using infused regen and infused health potions, the strongest ones, of course. When it comes to food, whatever fits to reach the 200 con and 300 intelligence. Glazed bear with sauteed vegetables, of course, is a good food, intelligence and con. But yeah, feel free to use whatever food you want that gives you the stats. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys liked it. I'll leave you with some footage of this build. Go check it out. It's a nice build. It's a fun build to play. I'm enjoying this a lot. And yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back with a new video soon. Take it easy.